In this episode, we zoom in on cryptography, not as a mysterious math topic, but as a practical set of protections that help keep sensitive information secret and trustworthy. Cryptography is what allows data to be protected when it is stored, when it is sent across networks, and sometimes even when it is being used. But the strongest algorithms in the world cannot help you if the keys are mishandled or if the whole system is treated like a one-time setup. Governance is the discipline of setting rules, assigning responsibility, and maintaining evidence that cryptography is being used correctly and consistently. The phrase complete lifecycle matters because cryptography is not just choosing an encryption method. It includes how you generate keys, store them, use them, rotate them, back them up, retire them, and respond when something goes wrong. In payment environments, cryptography often sits at the center of protecting sensitive account data, securing transactions, and proving integrity, so mistakes can have serious consequences even if nobody intended harm. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain what cryptography governance is, why key management is the real story behind most crypto failures, and how lifecycle thinking turns cryptography into a reliable control rather than a fragile checkbox. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A good starting point for beginners is understanding what cryptography is trying to accomplish, because different crypto goals require different approaches. Confidentiality is keeping data secret so unauthorized people cannot read it. Integrity is ensuring data has not been altered, so you can trust what you receive or store. Authentication is proving identity, often by proving that someone possesses a secret or a private key. Non-repudiation is a related idea, where actions can be tied to an identity in a way that is hard to deny later, though in practice it depends on how keys and identities are managed. Beginners should notice that these goals overlap but are not identical, which is why a single encryption feature does not automatically solve every problem. For example, encrypting a file protects confidentiality, but it does not automatically prove who created the file or whether the file was changed after encryption. Governing cryptography means being clear about which goals apply to which data and which workflows, and then choosing cryptographic controls that actually meet those goals. When the goals are clear, lifecycle governance becomes easier because you can measure whether the cryptography is still serving its purpose over time. Cryptography also includes different building blocks, and beginners benefit from a simple mental model of how these pieces fit together. Symmetric encryption uses the same secret key to encrypt and decrypt, which can be efficient but requires careful handling of the shared secret. Asymmetric encryption uses a public key and a private key pair, which supports secure exchange and digital signatures, but introduces different management needs. Hashing produces a fixed-size fingerprint of data, which supports integrity checking and password protection when used properly. Digital signatures use private keys to sign and public keys to verify, providing integrity and authenticity for messages and software. You do not need to memorize algorithms to grasp governance, but you do need to understand that each building block has a different life cycle and a different risk profile. A symmetric key used for database encryption needs strong protection and rotation planning, while a certificate used for secure web connections needs renewal and trust chain management. Governing cryptography means cataloging these different assets and ensuring each one is handled with the care its role requires. Lifecycle governance begins with inventory and classification, because you cannot manage what you cannot name and locate. In practice, this means knowing where cryptography is being used, what data it protects, what keys and certificates exist, and which systems rely on them. Beginners should understand that crypto can be hidden inside services, applications, databases, backups, and network devices, and it is easy for teams to lose track as systems evolve. An inventory should include ownership, meaning who is responsible for each key or certificate, and it should include purpose, meaning what the cryptographic asset is used for. Classification ties crypto use to data sensitivity, so that the strongest controls are applied where compromise would be most damaging. In payment environments, this classification often centers on protecting cardholder data sensitive authentication data, and the systems that manage those protections. If an organization cannot confidently describe its cryptographic assets, it risks sudden outages from expired certificates and silent exposure from weak or misconfigured encryption. Lifecycle governance starts by making the invisible visible, which is the foundation for consistent control. Key generation and provisioning are the next lifecycle stage, and they matter because the strength of cryptography depends on key quality and on how keys are introduced into systems. Beginners sometimes focus only on the algorithm name, but keys that are predictable, reused, or generated in weak ways can undermine even strong algorithms. Good governance defines how keys are generated, ensuring sufficient randomness and avoiding shortcuts like manual key creation or copying keys from one environment to another. Provisioning is how keys and certificates are delivered to systems that need them, and this is a high-risk moment because secrets can be exposed during transfer. Governance requires controlled processes so that keys are not emailed, pasted into chat, or stored in unsecured documents, because those habits create hidden copies that are hard to track and easy to steal. Beginners should understand that each extra copy of a key increases risk because the key can be compromised through any one of those copies. A disciplined provisioning process reduces sprawl and ensures systems receive cryptographic assets in a controlled, auditable way. Storage and protection of cryptographic material is often where real-world crypto breaks down, because protecting keys is harder than protecting data. If an attacker obtains the key, encryption becomes a locked door with the key left under the mat. Governance defines how keys are stored, who can access them, and what controls protect them from unauthorized retrieval. Beginners should understand that keys should be treated as high-value secrets, often requiring stronger controls than ordinary credentials, because they can unlock large amounts of data. Protection often involves limiting access to a small set of systems and accounts, separating duties, and ensuring that key access is logged and monitored. Another important concept is keeping keys separate from the data they protect, so that stealing a database file does not automatically include stealing the key. When storage controls are well governed, keys are harder to steal and misuse, which makes encryption meaningfully protective rather than purely symbolic. Lifecycle governance ties storage decisions to evidence and accountability, so teams can prove keys are handled according to policy. Usage governance is the stage where cryptography meets everyday operations, and it includes rules about how keys and certificates are actually used by applications and systems. Beginners should recognize that using encryption somewhere is not enough. It matters where encryption is applied in the data flow and whether the application uses it correctly. For example, encrypting data at rest is valuable, but data may still be exposed when it is transmitted or when it is processed if other controls are weak. Governance defines which data must be encrypted, which protocols must be used for data in transit, and how identity and integrity are handled through signatures and certificates. It also includes key usage constraints, such as ensuring a key intended for one purpose is not reused for another purpose, because reuse can create unexpected weaknesses. Another issue is ensuring that cryptographic libraries and configurations are kept current, because weak defaults and outdated settings can negate strong intentions. Usage governance is about making cryptography predictable and consistent, so it supports security goals without relying on individual developers or administrators to reinvent best practices each time. Rotation and renewal are lifecycle stages that protect long-term security and prevent cryptographic aging, where assets become risky as time passes. Keys and certificates should not live forever, because long-lived secrets have more opportunity to be exposed, and cryptographic standards change as attacks improve. Beginners should understand that rotation is a planned replacement of keys, while renewal is often used for certificates that expire and must be replaced to maintain trust. If rotation is not planned, organizations face either emergency replacements when something fails, or they keep using old keys indefinitely, increasing risk. Governance sets rotation schedules, defines triggers for early rotation, and ensures systems can handle rotation without outages. It also ensures that old keys are retired properly, because old keys left accessible can be used to decrypt old data or to impersonate services. A disciplined rotation program makes cryptography resilient, reducing both security risk and operational risk because it prevents sudden surprises like expired certificates causing service failures. Lifecycle thinking turns rotation into a routine maintenance activity rather than a crisis event. Backup, escrow, and recovery planning are also part of lifecycle governance, because cryptography can create a new kind of failure when keys are lost. Beginners often focus on preventing theft, but losing keys can be just as damaging because it can permanently lock you out of your own data. Governance defines how keys are backed up, who can recover them, and what approvals are required, because recovery mechanisms can become attack paths if they are too loose. The goal is a careful balance. Keys must be recoverable for legitimate continuity needs, but not so easily recoverable that any single person can retrieve them without oversight. This is where separation of duties and dual control concepts often appear, because key recovery is powerful and should be guarded. Recovery planning also includes documenting processes and testing them, because a recovery plan that does not work during a real incident is not a plan, it is a story. Lifecycle governance ensures that cryptography remains available for business continuity while still being secure, which is essential in payment environments where downtime and data loss both carry heavy costs. Revocation and incident response are the lifecycle stages that deal with the reality that secrets can be compromised. If a key, certificate, or credential is suspected of being exposed, you need a way to stop trusting it, replace it, and assess what data or transactions might have been affected. Beginners should understand that revocation is not just deleting a file. It is a coordinated process that updates trust relationships, rotates keys, and ensures systems stop accepting the compromised material. Governance defines who can declare a key compromised, how quickly replacement must occur, and how evidence is gathered to understand impact. It also defines communication paths, because cryptography often touches many systems, and a key change can ripple through applications, integrations, and devices. A common failure is having no practiced process, which turns a key compromise into chaos that causes outages and incomplete remediation. Lifecycle governance makes incident response smoother by ensuring roles, procedures, and technical capabilities exist before a crisis. When revocation and replacement are disciplined, cryptography remains a controllable system even under attack. Finally, governing cryptography across its complete lifecycle means treating it as an operational program with ownership, standards, evidence, and continuous improvement. Policies define what is required, but governance makes those requirements real by assigning responsibility, enforcing change control, and measuring compliance with secure practices. Inventory prevents blind spots, strong generation and provisioning prevent weak beginnings, and protection and usage controls prevent keys from becoming easy targets. Rotation, recovery, and revocation ensure cryptographic assets remain safe and functional over time, even as systems change and incidents occur. Beginners should take away that cryptography is not a magic shield. It is a powerful tool that depends on disciplined handling of secrets and consistent lifecycle practices. When cryptography is governed well, it supports confidentiality, integrity, and trust in payment environments in a way that is stable and defensible. When it is governed poorly, it creates both security risk and operational fragility, and those failures are often avoidable with the right lifecycle mindset and clear governance habits.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.